I met Sarah during sophomore year of college. She was failing organic chemistry and crying in the library at 2 a.m. when I offered to help. I was a computer science major, but I'd always been good at breaking down complex problems. That night changed both our lives. She was beautiful even with tears streaming down her face, clutching a coffee-stained textbook like it was her lifeline. "I'm gonna fail," she kept saying. "My parents will kill me. I'll never get into med school." I spent 4 hours that night teaching her electron configurations and reaction mechanisms. When she finally understood, her face lit up like Christmas morning. That smile, that's what got me. For the next 7 years, I became her biggest supporter. When she struggled with the MCAT, I didn't just help her study. I built her a custom study app that tracked her weak areas, timed her practice sessions, and generated personalized quizzes based on her mistakes. I spent 3 weeks coding it, debugging it at night after my own classes. She cried when I showed it to her. "No one's ever done anything like this for me," she said. When she needed to shadow doctors, I used my networking connections to find opportunities. My uncle's neighbor was a cardiologist. My boss's wife worked in hospital administration. I called in every favor I had. When application season came around, I worked 70-hour weeks at a soul-crushing consulting job to pay for her prep courses, application fees, and interview travel. 23 medical school applications at $200 each, flight and hotels for 14 interviews, MCAT prep course for $2,500. I kept track of every penny in a spreadsheet, not because I planned to hold it over her, but because I handled all our finances and liked things organized. My friends called me whipped. During our weekly gaming sessions, they'd make jokes. "Where's Sarah tonight?" "Oh wait, let me guess. Studying while you pay for everything?" My family said I was being used. My mother would pull me aside at family dinners. "She's a lovely girl, but what about your dreams?" she'd ask. But I believed we were building something together. Sarah would curl up next to me after long study sessions and whisper about our future. "When I'm a doctor, we'll have such an amazing life. We'll travel. We'll buy that house you showed me on Zillow. I couldn't do this without you, babe. You're my rock." Her family was another story. Her mother would introduce me as Sarah's boyfriend who works with computers, while emphasizing how Sarah would be a doctor. At her sister's wedding, her father cornered me at the bar. "So when Sarah's making real money, what's your plan? Still going to be playing with computers?" He laughed like it was a joke, but his eyes were cold. I made $120,000 a year, but to them, I was just tech support. The day Sarah got into her dream residency program at Johns Hopkins, I surprised her with champagne and flowers at her apartment. She was sobbing with joy, makeup running down her face. "We did it," she kept saying. "We did it." That night, she promised me that everything we'd sacrificed would be worth it. I believed her. That's when things started changing. First, it was small things. She'd come home talking about the fascinating conversations with attending physicians. Dr. Harrison Chen's name came up constantly. "He's so brilliant," she'd gush. "He published 12 papers last year. He invented a new surgical technique. He drives a Maserati." She started working late. Networking, she said. Building her career. Important dinners with important people. I'd fall asleep alone, wake up to her slipping into bed at 2 a.m., smelling like wine and expensive cologne that wasn't mine. Then came the criticisms. My job was just pushing buttons. My hobbies, gaming, building PCs, coding personal projects, were childish. She'd roll her eyes when I talked about work. "I saved someone's life today," she'd say. "What did you do? Fix someone's email?" I needed to elevate myself if I wanted to keep up with her new social circle, she said. Mind you, my button pushing had paid for her entire education. The spreadsheet showed $247,000 over 7 years, not counting interest on the loans I'd taken out. I started noticing charges on our joint credit card. Expensive dinners at places she said were work meetings. $400 at Nordstrom for an interview outfit when she already had the job. $200 bars tabs when she was supposedly at study groups. Money started disappearing from our joint savings, small transfers to her personal account. When I asked, she got defensive. I'm managing my own finances now. Is that a problem? Don't you trust me? The Thursday night everything exploded. She was 2 hours late for dinner. I'd made her favorite pasta carbonara from scratch, the way her Italian grandmother taught me. It sat cold on the table while I refreshed her location on Find My Friends. She was at the Ritz-Carlton downtown. When she finally came home, she looked annoyed to find me awake. Her lipstick was smudged. Her dress, one I'd never seen before, was wrinkled. We need to talk about the missing money, I said, laptop open to our accounts. She didn't even try to deny it. She actually laughed. Missing? It's not missing. I took it. For my future. She poured herself wine from the bottle I'd opened 3 hours earlier. I've been seeing Harrison. Just like that. Like she was telling me about the weather. We're intellectual equals. We understand each other's ambitions. The conversations we have, they're on another level. She paused, looking at me like I was something stuck to her shoe. You'll never understand my world. You can't. You fix computers. I save lives. Harrison and I, we're the same caliber of people. I felt my heart shatter, but the worst was yet to come. I used our savings for a deposit on a new apartment. A penthouse in Harbor East. Harrison and I are moving in together next week. She'd taken $63,000, money I'd saved by eating ramen, driving a 15-year-old Honda Civic with 200,000 miles, wearing the same clothes for years. Don't be dramatic, she added, seeing my face. I'll give you $5,000 to find a new place. Consider it. Severance. $5,000 of my own money as severance for 7 years of my life. Severance? I heard myself say. Like I'm an employee you're firing? She shrugged. If you want to think of it that way. Look, we had a good run. You were exactly what I needed to get through school. But I'm in a different place now. I need someone who challenges me intellectually. Someone who understands my work, my world. Harrison and I can talk about surgery techniques over dinner. What would we talk about? Your little coding projects? She moved out that weekend while I was at work. Didn't even say goodbye. Posted Instagram photos of her new luxury apartment with captions about leveling up and surrounding yourself with excellence. Her med school friends liked and commented with champagne emojis. I took a week off work, told my boss I had a family emergency. Then I channeled my rage into something productive. See, Sarah forgot that I wasn't just tech support. I was really good at my job, and I'd been documenting everything for 7 years. I started with the financial records. Every payment meticulously categorized in spreadsheets with receipts attached. Tuition, $62,000. Living expenses, $84,000. MCAT and application fees, $8,000. Her car payments and insurance, $31,000. The vacation to Cancun after she got accepted, $4,000. The designer stethoscope she needed, $200. The total came to $247,000, not counting interest on loans I'd taken out. Then I dug deeper, cross-referenced her working late nights with credit card charges, found receipts for hotels during conferences she'd attended with Dr. Chen, restaurant charges for two when she was supposedly at, quote, study groups, built a timeline that showed their affair had been going on for at least 8 months. The Ritz-Carlton charges were particularly interesting. Always room service for two, always champagne. But the real gold mine? Sarah had given me her passwords years ago for emergency access. She never changed them. I didn't access her accounts. That would be illegal. But I did remember that she used the same password pattern for everything. And she'd made me an authorized user on her credit cards for emergencies. I packaged everything into a professional report. Not emotional, not vindictive. Just facts, numbers, and evidence. A forensic financial analysis that any auditor would be proud of. Then I got creative. First, I sent a copy to the hospital's administration and ethics board. Not as a jilted boyfriend, but as a, quote, concerned party regarding potential ethical violations involving misappropriation of shared assets and inappropriate relationships between senior staff and residents that could constitute abuse of power dynamics. I used all the right keywords. Hospitals take that stuff seriously, especially in the #MeToo era. Next, I reached out to my doctor contacts, 3 physicians whose practices I'd helped with IT problems over the years. Dr. Martinez, whose patient database I'd recovered after a ransomware attack. Dr. Williams, whose practice I'd set up with a custom scheduling system. Dr. Patel, who I'd helped implement telemedicine during COVID. I didn't trash talk Sarah. I simply mentioned my situation and asked for advice about recovering educational loans. She what? Dr. Martinez was furious. After you supported her through school? That's despicable. Doctors talk. Word spread through the hospital like wildfire. I filed in small claims court for the maximum amount allowed minus $10,000. My documentation was bulletproof. The judge, a no-nonsense woman in her 60s, reviewed my evidence for 20 minutes. In 30 years on the bench, I've rarely seen such clear-cut financial exploitation, she said. Judgment for the plaintiff. Full amount plus court costs. But the masterpiece? Sarah's student loans had been on autopay from my account for years. Perfectly legal for me to cancel that. She was so busy with her new life that she didn't notice for 3 months. By then, she was in default. Her credit score plummeted from 780 to 520. Within 6 months, her perfect new life had crumbled. Dr. Chen distanced himself when hospital administration started asking questions about their relationship and the timeline of events. Turns out, he'd been assigned as her attending during her rotation, a clear violation of hospital policy. Their intellectual connection apparently wasn't worth risking his position as chief of surgery. Sarah became known as the gold digger resident among hospital staff. Nurses would whisper when she walked by. Other residents avoided her, not wanting to be associated with the scandal. She was passed over for the prestigious fellowship she'd been gunning for. Her luxury apartment required a credit check for lease renewal. With her tanked credit score and Dr. Chen no longer willing to co-sign, she was evicted. The IRS came after her for the tax implications of the defaulted loans. The state medical board opened an investigation into the ethics violations. That's when she reached out to me. I made a mistake, her first text said. Harrison isn't who I thought he was. You're the only one who really understood me. Can we talk? I was having dinner with Amy when that text came through. I'd met Amy at a hackathon 3 months after Sarah left. She was a software engineer who specialized in medical devices. Ironically, the kind Sarah's hospital used. She thought my job was fascinating, appreciated that I'd helped my ex through school, and called it character. She also insisted on splitting every check and had her own investment portfolio. Sarah texted again a week later, I'm drowning in these loans. Please, just help me figure out a payment plan, for old time's sake. Then came the phone calls. Voicemails where she was crying. I know I hurt you, but we were together for 7 years. Doesn't that mean anything? The final message was the most pathetic. I heard you're hiring junior developers at your company. Maybe you could put in a word? I'm thinking of leaving medicine. I thought about it for exactly 3 seconds. Then I typed my response. I don't think we're intellectual equals anymore. You should ask someone who understands your world. I blocked her number after that, but the story doesn't end there. Last month, I ran into her at a coffee shop. She was wearing scrubs from a small clinic. The logo was from one of those urgent care chains. Her designer handbag had been replaced with a canvas tote. The Cartier watch I'd bought her for matching into residency was gone. She saw me and froze. I was with Amy, who was excitedly telling me about her latest project. Sarah's eyes went from me to Amy to the matching wedding bands we wore. Hi, she said quietly. Sarah. I nodded politely. She looked like she wanted to say more, but Amy chose that moment to mention the medical conference in Paris we were attending next month. Her company was presenting, and spouses got free admission. The same conference Sarah had always dreamed of attending. As we left, I heard Sarah tell the barista she'd changed her mind about the latte. Just a regular coffee, she said. Small. Life has a funny way of teaching lessons. Sarah was right about one thing. I'll never understand her world. A world where you destroy someone who loved you for status. Where 7 years of sacrifice is worth less than a fancy zip code. Where intellectual equals means someone with a bigger bank account and a better title. I'll take my world instead. It's got less prestige but a lot more integrity. Amy and I are building something real, based on mutual respect and shared dreams. She never once suggested I don't understand her world, probably because we're too busy building one together. And that's worth more than all the doctor money in the world.